Let me guess, I know why you're here. You had this really wonderful newborn sleeper, 2-hour naps throughout the day, sleeping really long chunks overnight, and now, where did that baby go? Waking up every 2 hours throughout the night and only taking 20 to 30-minute naps. This is called a 4-month sleep regression. What is it? Why does it happen? And how do we solve it? I'm here to tell you. My name is Sarah. I am a certified pediatric sleep consultant of Your Zen Baby Sleep with 15 years of special education experience in the classroom. And I'm gonna get your child's sleep back on track. So why does the 4-month sleep regression happen? The biggest reason is because your baby is developing on time and their circadian rhythms are now turned on. So for the first 4 months of life, they didn't have this 24-hour biological clock. But now our circadian rhythms are fully established in our system. Our circadian rhythms dictate our sleep, but also dictate our hormone release, our digestive system, our cardiovascular system, our immune system. All of these run on this clock. And whereas months 0 through 4, they really didn't need any type of guidance in terms of a schedule or anything that was dictated by our body's clock, now your little one really is sensitive to all of the hormone releases that are happening inside of their body. So if you take a peek at this chart, you'll see that at certain times on the clock, our body produces sleepy hormones. This is somewhere around 8:30 to 9:30, somewhere between 12 to 1, again between 3 to 4, and finally, bedtime is going to be between 6 and 8 p.m. So at these times on the clock, we know that our body will be surging sleepy hormones, and this is the best time for our little one to fall asleep, stay asleep for a really long nap, and be well rested so that they continue to take really great naps throughout the day. Once this system turns on, we need to follow suit. We need to get our babies to adjust to this schedule so that they are also sleeping at the times when their body is saying it's time to sleep. Another reason why the 4-month sleep regression happens, your baby is curious. They have FOMO. Have you noticed that yet? That you're trying to put them down for a nap and they pop awake after 15 minutes looking around the room, happy, kicking their legs, ready to party again? This is a very real thing. And again, it just means that your child is developing on track. So it's a great thing, but maybe not so much for your patience or your sanity. So we know that baby is curious. We know that baby is gaining some intelligence. And we also know that baby is meeting lots of milestones and developing a lot intellectually and physically in their body. All of this is the perfect storm for not necessarily wanting to prioritize sleep in their body. Their development will affect sleep, especially if they are not yet sleeping independently. Which brings me to the third reason why your child is going through the 4-month sleep regression. The third reason, they don't have any independent sleep skills and they need them. This sometimes is baby's way of saying, Mom, Dad, I'm ready to be taught how to sleep independently. Because before, when you used to rock me to sleep and place me in the crib, I was able to stay sleeping. I was able to stay asleep and not wake up and not worry about where I was or whose arms I was in the middle of a sleep transition. And now they're very aware when they do transition at about the 30, 45-minute mark through their sleep cycles, they're aware that they're not in your arms. So what they want to do is get back in your arms, and that's why they're waking up looking for you. So how do you solve the 4-month sleep regression? I am going to give you 6 ways to get your little one's sleep back on track. And the first thing that we're going to start with is implementing a schedule. So there's a lot of rhetoric out there about wake windows, right? So this idea that your child is up for 75 minutes and then you need to put them in the crib to take a nap. I'm going to give you an alternative to wake windows because sometimes babies go through the 4-month sleep regression because they are really sensitive to the biology of their sleep and don't necessarily need to just use wake windows. They really need to be sleeping on a set schedule at those times on that chart when we know their body is producing sleepy hormones. So what I want you to try is establishing a schedule where they are napping at the same times every day. If your baby is still pretty predictably napping 4 times a day, even if they're 30 to 40-minute naps, I want you to start out with a 4-nap schedule. And you can see examples of that schedule here. If your baby seems like they do better with 3 naps and are pretty typically taking 3 naps a day, I'd like you to start with the 3-nap schedule. And you'll see that as they go through their 4th month into month 5, they are definitely going to be taking an established 3-nap schedule that is going to align with their body's biology and not necessarily using the concept of just sleep pressure or wake windows. The second thing to keep in mind with the 4-month sleep regression, this is your baby's way of saying they need to shift their bedtime earlier. I know this might produce some type of panic in you because, oh my gosh, they're already up every other hour. Does a 6:30 bedtime mean they're going to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning ready to go for the day? It actually doesn't. So there is some science behind this. An earlier bedtime, somewhere between 6 and 7 p.m., is necessary for children under the age of 12 months because this is when the body produces the most amount of sleepy hormones, and this is the time when your child is going to get into that deep non-REM sleep. Deep non-REM sleep at this hour is actually going to translate to longer stretches of sleep throughout the night and is also a solve if you are dealing with any early morning wakings. Don't be afraid to shift their bedtime earlier, and be sure to try this for about a week or 2 so your baby's body can adjust. The third thing to do for the 4-month sleep regression, which I bet if you're on this page, you've already established, but it's worth talking about. Establish a solid sleep routine. So it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be lengthy, but your baby at this age developmentally understands sequencing of events. So they know when I take a bath and then I get a massage and then I put my PJs on and I hear that sound machine, sleep is coming. So establishing the routine in the same order every day is going to really help them with cueing in their brain that sleep is about to come, and it will help them to go into bed a little bit easier. For nap time, you can do a same version of this routine. You don't need to include bath. It doesn't need to be lengthy, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes before you put the baby in their crib. So the fourth thing to do to solve the 4-month sleep regression, I want you to make sure that your environment is really sleep inducing. So again, if you're here, I'm sure that you've already added some of these elements to your room, but I want to be really specific and I want to get nitty gritty about this. I want your sound machine to be on, but I want it to be pure white noise. I don't want ocean waves and I don't want rain sound. At this stage of development, that can be very stimulating to the brain and it can cause the brain to turn on if your baby is listening for lullabies or oceans or any variation in tone. So pure white noise is fine. And I also want it to be loud. So new research as of this date says that anywhere between 70 to 75 decibels is actually appropriate and the best sound level for white noise. Disclaimer, this is a pretty loud decibel level, so you can always go off the previous research, which is about 50 to 60 decibels. But either way, most families probably have their sound machine too quiet and the baby is too distracted by noises in the room if you are room sharing or other noises in the house. Finally, what I want you to do is get the room cave-like dark. I can't stress this enough, and this is so important for naps. When you walk in the room and put the baby in the crib, I don't want you to be able to see your hand in front of your face. Whatever that means for you to make this environment happen, even if it's getting one of those hefty duty garbage bags, those construction bags, and like thumbtacking them to the window, that's what I want you to do, because your baby is really, again, remember, curious, stimulated, FOMO, wants to see what's going around. If the environment is not dark, they're going to latch onto the fan above and they're just going to want to watch it. They're going to want to analyze it. And also, a dark room can induce more sleepy hormones. So if you're putting the baby down at the right time and their body's already naturally producing melatonin, the dark room will also continue to produce that melatonin in greater levels. The last way to solve the 4-month sleep regression. Okay, take a deep breath, mama. I need you to put your baby in their crib awake. Okay, so what does this mean? It's going to look a little different from what you've been doing up to this point in time. So most of the time when we have our newborns, we are rocking and we're feeding and we're soothing in lots of different ways to sleep, and that is all good. However, if you're really struggling with their sleep and it's not sustainable for you anymore at this point in time, it is time to make changes, and your baby is telling you that they're ready. So this is where we need to teach the skill of independent sleep. The best way to do that is put the baby in the crib awake. Throw drowsy but awake out the window. I don't really love that advice from 4 months and up because it's very subjective. We can't really tell if the baby's drowsy, if the baby's really half asleep, if the baby's actually fully asleep. Very clear, black and white. I want you to place the baby in the crib awake. And from this point, that's when you choose some type of crib side soothing or some type of sleep training method in order to assist them to sleep. I have other YouTube videos that you can check out on those methods if you want to get more in depth about how to help soothe your baby through the process of sleep training. The most important thing to keep in mind, mama, you got this. Okay, you've got this. I know this is a really challenging time that you're walking through. It's almost bringing back some PTSD from the newborn days, right? But I know that you can handle this and you can teach your baby how to sleep independently. You are their best advocate and you are their best teacher, and healthy sleep is going to be so good for their development and for your family as a whole. Once again, my name is Sarah, and as a certified pediatric sleep consultant who has helped over 350 families get more sleep, I really hope that you found this video helpful. Leave a like to let me know that if you found this helpful. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications so that you have the best sleep content coming your way the second that I post. From my living room to yours, thank you so much for watching.